do the epithelial ones first. I'll mix them up a little bit, and then I'll do the others. If that works for you guys. But in real life, they'll probably all be intermixed. So, but let's do we'll do the, and you can leave your stuff out if you're still working on stuff. I'll just, this will just be a couple minutes here. Let me, I'll turn off the front lights. There we go. But again, you're welcome to leave your stuff out. Let me, okay, I got that up. So I will just kind of call out some things, and do you guys want to just do it orally? Is that best? If you want to write stuff down, you can too. Okay, so I'll tell you kind of low power, medium power, high power, and then you go. When I'm doing mine in class, I always just maybe show low power, and then the questions are asked on the high power so that you can see the cells involved. So do you guys remember, does this look familiar to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of tissue does that look like to you guys? You want to make a look?
Long. Over the eye. Over the eye.
So that would be, I heard it, simple, squamous, what type of tissue? Epithelial tissue, good. Where's the place you can find it?
Lungs.
In the lungs, yeah, these are the little air sacs, the alveoli in the lungs. He probably covered it too, you can find it in the kidneys also. What is the function of that type of tissue?
Gas exchange.
Yeah, gas exchange or diffusion of gases, and you can look good. Yeah, in the kidneys, we'll see that one later. Okay, is everybody okay with that one? Everybody understand that it's just a flat squamous simple cell. Sometimes it looks a little bigger because some of the cells go with this air sac, and then some go with this one. Can you see the basement membrane very easily on the simple squamous epithelial tissue? Not really. It's hard to see the basement membrane. I'll show you one where you can. So let's. I'm just gonna kind of. Let's see. Actually, I'm gonna move around here a little bit so we can. Okay, let's look at. Let's look at this one. Does that look familiar to you guys?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go up closer. We'll go up to this one. Okay, so here we'll go. Okay, so what kind of tissue are you guys looking at there? That's a
Simple columnar.
Simple columnar epithelial tissue or epithelium. What's the structure back here that you're looking at here? That is the basement membrane. Did you guys kind of go over the basement membrane? That's where all the cells are attached there. Do you guys remember that there's this very, very little extensions from the surface? Those are microvilli.
Microvilli.
What their job is to increase the surface area because where's the location you can find simple columnar epithelial tissue? Small intestine, yep. And that the microvilli allow for more surface area for our function, which would be here. It would be absorption of nutrients.
Nutrients.
Yeah. Nutrients. Do you guys remember this cell type here?
Goblet cell.
Goblet cell. What does he secrete?
Mucin.
Yeah, mucin, which mixes with water to make
mucus.
Cool. Okay. Everybody good with that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Keep going. Okay.
Is this what the practical will look like?
I believe that is, I think he does his on the screen also.
And just like ask questions.
Yeah, and you'll have to fill out, they'll just be like lines. And you'll have to say simple squamous epithelial tissue.
So we're
Yeah.
gonna ask it and you'll just have lines.
That's how I do it. I think that's how he does it too. So it is definitely a fill in the blank kind of test where you have to come up with the words.
trickiest.
Yeah. Yeah. The lamina or propria. Let's go back there real quick. Yeah, so for this one, sometimes we use a little different terminology just depending on the teacher. lamina propria would be the connective tissue that's holding the epithelial tissue on. Is that the understanding that you guys have from that? So I assume that what he's talking about there is since this is our basement membrane here, the lamina propria would be out here, outside of there, and this is the lumen here. Does that sound right to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to make sure. Sometimes like he includes things in his that I don't, so, but that's my understanding, yeah. Okay, so let's do this slide here. So that's kind of, we're looking toward the lumen there, and I'm gonna go closer here. So do you guys have this one?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember what kind of epithelium we have here? Is it simple or stratified here? It is stratified. And what's the shape of the cell at the apical surface? So this is the apical surface here, right? So that's a stratified. This is actually a stratified squamous. And that's because when you start looking at these tissues here and here, these cells, they are flat. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they're flat cells. You always look at the ones closest to the apical or free surface. And since they're flat, it would be a stratified squamous epithelial tissue here. Does anybody remember where this is or another place you can find it? This one is actually in the esophagus. Does anybody remember why would you want that kind of tissue in your esophagus? Yeah, it does. It moistens it, but it also protects it. Anytime you have stratified, think about like that acidic coffee or those sharp tortilla chips that go down. You're gonna have protection and strength. Okay, if it's just a single cell, it's not as strong. And so again, you find this in the esophagus, in the oral cavity. You actually find it in the anal cavity, also the vaginal canal. It's places that need mechanical protection. Okay, so that's a stratified. Does this one have keratin on it?
No.
No. Yeah. So it is non-keratinized. Okay. Where do we have the keratin type? We have it on
The soles of the
skin
feet.
surface.
Yeah.
So let's do that one real quick. Is this helpful? Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay, because I know you guys are gonna have this next week, so we'll do it real quick with you guys. Okay, so here we are. That is sort of our high power slide. Does that look familiar to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go down to this one here, and then this one. Okay, so stratified. What is this? This is because this is our basement membrane down in here. So we do have a stratified, and then what's our shape? It is squamous. We're getting closer to the apical surface here, and these cells are flat. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they are a squamous shape. So it's a stratified squamous epithelial tissue. And what is all this stuff here? It's all keratin. Yeah. So this is a keratinized, stratified, squamous epithelial tissue. Okay, and that's where we find it on the skin. What does it do? What does it function to do? It waterproofs, protects. Yeah. Barrier. It's a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody okay with that one? Okay. Okay, let's do. I include a few little different slides. Does that look familiar to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody know where that is? What location that is? That is the ureter. Yes, indeed it is. This is a close-up of the ureter. So what kind of epithelium is here? This is a transitional epithelial tissue. This is in the ureter. So what is its function? Yeah, distension, stretching. Yeah, stretch, rebound. I'll show you another slide that I use that's a little closer to the one in the lab manual. It's actually in the urinary bladder. This is I added it to mine because So one of the things that helps you recognize transitional epithelium are these rounded cells at the top. Again, when the urinary bladder stretches out, those cells can stretch out more. And that looks a little bit more, but you can see it is stratified. The lab manual has one that kind of looks like that. So that's the urinary bladder. The other one is the ureter, but same idea. Everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's do, does that look familiar? Yeah, glandular epithelial tissue, right? Okay, so let's go through this real quick. So the whole thing is a glandular epithelial tissue. We don't name it by cell shape or layering. We just call it glandular epithelial tissue. There's a couple of things here. How much detail did he want you to go into? Did he have you do the dark areas versus the light area here?
Mhm.
Okay, so what kind of cells are these?
Acinar cells.
Acinar cells, and they secrete digestive enzymes, okay? And the digestive enzymes, is it exocrine or endocrine? It's exocrine,
Exocrine.
because those secretions go into these ducts locally and get dumped into the small intestine for digestion, okay? So that's the over 90% of, anybody know what gland we're in here? We're in the pancreas, yeah. And then these cells, did he give you the name for those? Those are the,
Alright, let's bring it in.
there's a lot of different names. You can call them the endocrine cells in the pancreas, you can call them the pancreatic islet cells, the islets of Langerhans, there's a lot of, so whatever name you like. But are those endocrine or exocrine cells? Endocrine cells. So what gets secreted here? Hormones, right? Hormones go into the blood, they don't go into ducts. And what's a hormone that would come out of here for blood glucose regulation?
Insulin.
Insulin, glucagon. Okay, everybody okay on that? I know that's one of the, again, the reason it's a epithelial, included in epithelial, because the cells that line these ducts they're epithelial type cells. So that's why we threw it in with this group. Everybody okay? Can we keep going? Let's go, here. So let's go here. We're gonna look at the lining on the very, kind of the right side of the color there. So let's go here and then here. What kind of epithelial tissue, I'm giving away there. What are we looking at here? This guy is pseudo-stratified. It looks like it could be stratified, but it's not. They all connect onto the basement membrane. Pseudo-stratified, what is this? Ciliated. Pseudo-stratified, ciliated. What's the shape of the cell? Columnar epithelial tissue. That's one of the longer ones. Where do we find it? Trachea. Good. We also find it in the male reproductive system. It will move the sperm along in that system as well. What's the function? We got cilia. So what's our function there?
To move.
Yeah, to move. Cilia move things along the top of the cell. So mucus, trapped foreign material. They do all that. They move things along. Okay. Everybody okay with that? The other look at that you probably, have you guys seen that one too? That's the other look at the pseudostratified ciliated. Okay, let's go to, anybody know, I don't know if you guys do this one, but anybody know what you'd be looking at here? Like if this here, is it stratified or stratified? It is a stratified. What shape are the cells here? This is a stratified cuboidal. Yeah, epithelial tissue. Where could you find that? Usually in a bigger duct, like a sweat duct or a mammary gland. And if you look at the lab manual, I don't know if you guys did this one, but it gives the duct a structure so it doesn't flat. So, yeah. Did you guys do that one? Some people do that one, some people don't. Maybe it'll be extra credit, I don't know. Okay, let's go on here. Okay, let's do this one. What are we looking at here? Simple cuboidal, right? Epithelial tissue. Where could you find simple cuboidal epithelial tissue? The kidney,
Kidney.
thyroid. Yep. What would it do here in the kidneys? Yeah, absorption. You could call it reabsorption, absorption, secretion, any of those things. Okay, we good with that one? Did he do the thyroid too? Did you guys go through the thyroid? Do you want to see that one too? Let's do that one real quick. Here's a look at the thyroid there. All those little clear looking pond things. And then there's a look at on the right. Again, this is another simple cuboidal. Right, epithelial tissue here. This simple one goes with this one. So what would be the function here? This would just be to make thyroid hormones. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Do you guys want me to do the kidney too? Let's see. We've got. Did you guys go through this one? Did you look at that one?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where are we at again? We are in the kidney. You can see some of the tubules there with the simple cuboidal. These are the filtration mechanisms, the glomerular, the renal corpuscles. So this is where the blood comes in and gets filtered in these capillary networks. But if you look around the capsule, it's all simple, what is it? Simple squamous epithelial tissue. And here our function is filtering blood. Yeah. Filtering the nasal membrane too. Okay. All right, I think I hit those. Any other questions about the epithelium? Did that help a little bit to go through those?
Helped a lot.
Okay, let's do the other ones real quick. You guys want to go through the connective tissue? You guys want to, right? And I can go faster if you guys want. Alright, I'm gonna mix them up here. What type of tissue is that? Nervous tissue. What's the big cell there in the middle called? That is our functional cell. Yep, that's the neuron. And what are these called? They could be, we don't know exactly which one is what, but they could be a dendrite or an axon, right? What are the little cells out here? Those are the supporting, did you call them neuroglia cells? Did you guys have that one on your list? The supporting cells? Okay, so neuron, we'll stick with neuron there. Okay, let me mix it up a little here. Okay, does that look familiar, kind of, sort of?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Everybody know what that is? This is another picture of it. We'll go back. What is that? That is, yeah, you guys see that? What are the holes called that we see here? Lacunae? Yeah, lacuna. And what are the cells inside of those? Those are the chondrocytes, right? So we know this is a cartilage. What type of cartilage? Fibrocartilage. Where can we find fibrocartilage? Intervertebral discs. It's in there. The menisci, the knee. That's good. Those are good places. Yeah. Okay. The pubic symphysis is also fibrocartilage.
Right.
Okay, let's go to this one. Looking in the middle there, down the middle strip. Yeah, what is this one? This is, I heard cartilage.
Highland cartilage.
You see all these black fibers though. What does that indicate? That's gonna indicate that, what kind of cartilage is it? It's gonna be elastic cartilage. Yeah, elastic cartilage. Remember the outside of your ear there? The external ear is fibrocartilage. So again, cartilage is always supportive. So this has a flexible support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fibrocartilage has a very strong support. It's very supportive. So this guy is the external ear. And then let's do the other one that you guys were just talking about. Let's do, that one there. Does that look familiar? Where we, that is what? Highland
Highland cartilage, yeah.
And Highland cartilage is very smooth, so it's got a very low friction support kind of thing. Where again, the chondrocytes in the lacunae. Where do we find Highland cartilage? The costal cartilages on the ends of the long bones. They're in the joints, so that the joints move smoothly. Also, the fetal skeleton is Highland. We see a lot of Highland cartilage. The tracheal rings of the trachea. So yeah, that's the most common type. Okay, what about this guy right here? What do we have? Bone. Yeah, what kind of bone? Spongy bone, dense bone?
Dense.
Yeah, dense. Compact bone. What's this thing called? The
Osteocyte.
yeah, either the a couple different names for it. I call it the central canal, but there's the Herbergian canal also. What does it contain? Blood vessels.
Blood vessels.
Yeah, so bone has blood vessels. True or false? Cartilage also has blood vessels. Is that true? False. No blood vessels in the cartilage. What are the holes called? Those are the, again, the holes, just like in cartilage, they're called lacunae or lacuna for one. And then, but we don't have chondrocytes in bone, we have osteocytes, right? Did he ask you for the little black things? Yeah, the canaliculi. Canaliculi, yeah. Okay. And then I don't know if he's asking you for the rings, but yeah, the rings from. You guys recognize that one? It looks kind of fibrous, has all these fibers hanging off of it here. So it is made out of collagen, it's not muscle. So that, and it's going all in the same direction. Dense, regular connective tissue, good. Where do we find dense, regular connective tissue? Tendons and ligaments. Good job. Yeah, tendons and ligaments. What about, okay, look toward the bottom of this slide. The really dark red. And here we are. So what is this? Dense, irregular connective tissue. Where can we find it? In the dermis.
Dermis.
Yeah, organ capsules. It's strong in how many directions? Many directions.
Many directions.
So strength in many directions. Everything you're looking at here is collagen. Some of it's going this way, some of it's going this way. Okay, let's do an easy one. Hopefully easy, kind of sort of easy. Let's do this one. Look toward the bottom of the slide, those white pillow-looking structures. What is that?
Adipose.
Adipose, connective tissue. Where do we find it? Hypodermis, around organs. What does it do for us? What's a function?
Cushioning.
Yep, storage of energy, triglycerides, insulation, padding, any of those kinds of things. Okay guys, what about this one right here? Anybody recognize that one? It's got those funny net-like fibers that just are all over the place.
Reticulum.
That is reticular connective tissue. Okay, it's in the liver and the spleen. If you ever had liver and you pull it apart and it looks kind of stringy in there, it's because of the reticular fibers. It gives the liver or the spleen like an internal skeleton or structure, like a, and this is probably spleen because these are all red blood cells. They're just caught up in the spleen there. Okay. Spleen, lymph nodes, liver, all of those places. Okay, let's look at this one. So look around that vessel wall, and then let's look up close. What kind of tissue do we have right here? This is does it have lacunae? No, it doesn't. It's not a cartilage. but it has lots of collagen, and then it has black fibers mixed in there. So that is going to be elastic connective tissue, okay? Don't get that confused with elastic cartilage. It's elastic connective tissue. Where can we find elastic connective tissue? In the large arteries, the aorta and stuff. It allows for what? For stretching, expansion. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's do. Does that guy look familiar?
Yep.
That is, yeah, some people call it loose or areolar, whatever term, areolar or loose connective tissue. It's the least organized. What are the red fibers? Those are collagen. What are the little black ones? Elastic. Anything else? Where would you find this type of tissue? You'd find it under the skin, so, or like the lamina propria. That's one place you find it. It's around blood vessels, around. It's a loose binding. So if you move your skin around like this, the fact that it moves real nicely and easily, it's because of this loose binding material. Okay, let's see. I think we're almost done, guys. Let's see. Any of them that you guys want to review or have any questions on? Oh, this one. What's that one? Blood. Yeah, it's a liquid connective tissue. What are all the little red cells called? Those are red blood cells or erythrocytes. Most of what you see there is red blood cells or erythrocytes. What kind of cell is that? Yeah, a leukocyte or white blood cell. That one, I don't think it asked you specifically, but that is a neutrophil. And then the little tiny specks that you see in there, those are going to be platelets or blood clotting. Oh no, I forgot. There's one thing I forgot. Okay, what is that one? I'll give you a hint. Those are not fibers. It's a different kind of tissue. And it is, it's got these striations. And it's long. So this is going to be skeletal muscle. Cool. Skeletal muscle, what does it do to the skeleton? It makes it move, right? It moves. Whenever you think of muscle, think move, contraction. It moves skeletal muscle. Cool. We find it in all the skeletal muscles. Okay, let's do this one right here. So this is, look toward the left, okay? And then we'll get a little bigger there. That one, and what is that? I'll give you a hint. It's another type of muscle. Smooth. Don't get that confused with the collagen. This is not collagen. This is smooth muscle. Where do we find it? It's really in the walls of hollow organs. So like the esophagus to push things through, the respiratory tubes, the reproductive tubes, the GI tubes. So it's in the walls. It pushes, propels things through hollow things. Okay, let's see. And then last but not least, what's this guy? Yeah. Cardiac muscle. Last thing, what is this? What are these things? You might ask you those. Look at those. Those are intercalated discs. They bind the branched fibers together so the heart beats as a unit. Okay? All right.